Hi guys, Ostrom here, and today we're gonna talk about how good the demo Preg comp actually is. A lot of you guys asked me that which comp is better, the demo Hpal or the demo Preg. So let's see the main difference in between these two comps. Demo Hpal comp was missing only one thing, and that was the starting a CC chain or setting up properly. And that's exactly what the demo Preg comp brought to the table. Keep in mind, both of the other specs have instant CCs like either create a double CC or help to set up a proper CC chain. For example, Distro has Shadow Fury and F3 has instant Howl of Terror. Unfortunately, Demo doesn't really have anything like that unless you count the Felguard stun, but Felguard is generally weak in 2s. So the first pro of the Demo Preg comp is that it has access to instant CC thanks to the rep from the Preg Paladin. The second one is that you get almost the same value if you were playing with a Holy Paladin, except Aura Mastery. You get Hodge for setups, sacrifices, Blessing of Protection, cleans, and even big heals and absorbs that Preg provides. And the third can be either a pro or a con, depending on your playstyle. It's a double DPS comp, so the games are usually much faster and more dynamic compared to playing with a healer. And also, Preg provides you Dispel Protection with his dots and Judgment debuff. What are the cons? The first con is that you have less room for mistakes. This is generally true for every double DPS comp. When you are playing with a healer, you can afford to make more mistakes because you are much tankier and harder to take down. With Demo Preg, you cannot afford any crucial mistakes, because momentum can shift quickly and you will lose in no time. Although, you will be tanky as Demo Preg, but it's nowhere near the level of tankiness you get with a Hpal. With that comp, you can, and you should, reset multiple times whether your setup succeed or not. And unfortunately, no Aura Mastery, only Hand of Protection to create window for free casting. It's harder to get cast off or finish the game with Preg. How to play this comp? Rep usage. This section is the most important one here. We will cover when and how to use rep during games, and this can decide the outcome of any match. If you mess it up, you most likely lose the game or at least lose momentum and pressure. So here is how and when to use rep. First, your Wotlk should be in range and line when you use it. There is nothing worse than repping a target behind LOS or charging for rep while your teammate is slowed and can't follow. It's a complete waste of rep. Also, you should create a situation where your lock can actually follow up with a fear. What I mean by that is that your Wotlk teammate can be interrupted with kicks, stuns, charges, or any other CCs. So you either need to force those out before using rep or land a double CC with or without the lock involved. For example, fear on one target and rep on another, or rep plus hodge. Moreover, if the enemy makes positioning mistakes, then Wotlk can line the other enemy player and land the fear. Rep can easily be dodged if it's used incorrectly. Rep can break by damage such as pre-sacrificing it or Shadow over Death, or it can be grounded. How to deal with it? Against Holy Paladin, try not to dot or attack any of the two targets during the rep. Against this priest, use rep between globals or after Hodge, Fear or Shadow over Death. Against Resto Shaman, same as this, use rep after ground or CC to keep the CC chain going longer. Against Resto Druid, you can use Banish plus rep combo. So the druid has to choose between the two CC what he gonna tank. Positioning. You should move together always. Unlike the Hpal demo where you can max range your port, here it's not always the best. Holy Paladin can provide you huge instant heals, can heal multiple targets, and survive much longer than a Preg would do. So when you are about to port, keep that in mind. You should position yourself more like in other Preg comps such as Preg DK or Preg MM. One more thing, If your Preg is on your port, then you can safely max range it and use it. But in most cases, that won't be the case. Dispel Protection. Preg paladins use the dot seal, which can stack up to 5 times. Also, Judgment adds another debuff, so Preg provides 6 different debuffs in total. You can apply 2 more dots, plus Shadow Flame and Fear, making it much harder to dispel your CCs or the dot damage. Plus, if the Preg starts auto-attacking the target, they can keep reapplying the dot stacks. Just be careful not to break the fear. Targeting. With Hpal demo, you most likely want to focus on healers. With Hpal, you can target non-healers too, but it's less effective than with a Preg. Since Preg can deal huge damage and burst, so the targeting is not the most important here to cover. How to CC or CC chain. So we already covered the rep and tense, aka the rep usage. In this section, we will talk about what your CC chain should look like and how to set up properly to win the game. With Preg demo, you can do double CCs like rep plus hodge on different targets. This is useful against Warpal, Disfera or Disrogues, and so on, where you can follow up the rep with the fear. After fear, you can either go for a healer by dotting up and using charge in the DC into silence, or fear the healer and pressure the DPS during the hodge into DC combo. As a warlock, you can use Shadow Flame plus CS into fear to start a CC chain. Or you can begin the CC chain with hodge into rep on a healer or any target. For example, against this hunter, you can start a CC chain with a hodge into rep to avoid Shadow Word death. And lastly, you can blanket CS the target into a rep. This is really good against priest and paladin teams. CDs. Let's start with the defensive CDs. Preg Paladin provides you a lot of defensive CDs and absorbs and also heals. For example, Preg Paladins have 2 different types of sacrifices. They have Sacred Shield for more absorb and instant heals procced by their talent called Art of War. Basically, they need to auto-attack a target in order to get a proc and heal you or your pet or themselves. But probably the most important defensive CD they offer is the Bop. With Bop, they can immune all physical damage, break out of CDs like Blind, Cheap Shot, Kidney, Scatter, and so on, or give you free cuts against melees like Warriors, Feras, Rogues, and Hunters. They can also cleanse you and remove from every stun with their Divine Purpose talent, which is especially strong against Rogues. On the other hand, Warlocks have Demon Armor, which reduce your damage but increase your healing received by 20%. And of course Metamorphosis, which make you an actual tank, what you can combo with Demon Armor. And also, don't forget about your Healthstone and potentially your Trinkets. Offensive CDs. Paladins have wings which they can use with your form to maximize your overall damage, or you can use it separately so you have burst window with a full CC chain in every minute. Keep in mind, your form lasts 36 seconds, so you will need to reset or survive roughly 30 more seconds. Trinkets. We are still in the learning phase with this comp, so I'm not entirely sure which 2 trinkets are the best for higher rating. But if you are just starting out, I would recommend using Bubble and CTS for your journey. At higher levels, though Bubble can feel kind of useless sometimes, and running with 2 damage trinkets often just feels better overall. I will keep you updated once we play more with this comp. Although, keep in mind, you can't use Healthstone during Bop, so with Bubble you can top yourself up and keep up the pressure. In this final section, we are going to watch a few clips to summarize everything we've covered and see it all in action. So in this first clip, we are up against Warrior Paladin comp. Here, we will look at how you should set up against the melee plus healer team. As you can see, my teammate instantly repped the enemy Paladin, then follow up with a hodge on the warrior to cover my fear cast on the Paladin. This is the best possible opener against comps like this. After that, I dot it up and got ready for the burst. In this game, my paladin also used wings for a surprise burst on both target, and we are able to finish the game early. Let's see in the next clip where the paladin pre-sacrificed the go. So as you can see, everything is the same here, except the enemy warrior had red sacrifice. Normally, any damage on the warrior would instantly break the rep on the paladin. We didn't cover my fear cast on the warrior with a hodge, so I either had to fake a cast or just commit. Ideally, I should have opened with Curse of Elements into Corruption, then gone for the burst. That would have been even better. But as you can see in this clip, it was still enough for force both bubble and shield wall. The CC chain in this case was wrap into silence into coil. I used silence and shadow flame first to prevent freedom or sacred shield from going out, because even though we left the gap for the paladin, he had to use his global on sacred shield instead of healing himself. I just wanted to show you this clip where I did end up faking warrior's kick, but this is actually a bad rep usage, but it's not ideal. Our goal is to fear the paladin so we can set up on him or AoE both targets down. As you could see in the previous clip, without a fear on the paladin, we can still potentially force bubble, but it's much riskier. This is a classic blanket CS into rep combo on a healer. Normally, I use blanket CS on a disc to avoid shadow word death, but in this case it also helped us avoid a potential double fear from the enemy priest. After blanket CS, my teammate landed a rep, and we were able to set up just like we did against the Holy Paladin. And we end up winning this game early as well. And lastly, I'm going to show one of the most advanced tricks you can do as a demo. I've already covered this in a few of my videos, but I don't think I ever shown you an actual example of it in action. Here is how it works. First, let's clarify what DE, aka Demonic Empowerment, does. It has a different effects depending on your pet, but we will focus on the Fair Hunter one. When you press DE, it dispels all magic effects from your Fair Hunter. That includes CCs like Fear, Turn Evil, Deep Freeze, and so on. It won't remove CCs like Cyclone, Banish, or physical ones. And you can only use it when you are not in CC. There are two main scenarios where you can use this high level trick. The first one, which you will see in this clip, is using DE to remove CC from your pet and instantly press CS to interrupt a heal or a casted damage spell. In this case, I kicked the Vampire Touch spell. I had to use my Trinket for it, but it was still worth it, because we shut down the Shadow Priest Rogue opener, which is crucial for us. The second situation is when your pet and your paladin both get feared, like from double fear. Instead of using CS, you can press Devour Magic to dispel the fear from your teammate. That's why it's important not to waste your DE, use it wisely. Of course, you can play mind games with it. Sometimes press D, sometimes don't. Force the enemy to guess, and that hesitation can slow their pressure down. Alright, thank you for watching this guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned a lot from it. Let me know in the comments what comp do you struggle the most as a warlock. Also, if you wanna support me, make sure you to subscribe. Let's reach 500 subscribers. Thanks once again and see you in the next one.